Where did all the guns go? That sounds like a strange question, but after moving from Texas to Mexico, I couldn't stop asking it because growing up in Texas, guns were just part of everyday life.
Dear Lord, baby Jesus.
Not because everybody carried one, not because everybody owned one, but because they were visible. Gun stores, advertisements, sporting goods stores, conversations about hunting, friends who owned them.
Look at my shit, I'm a fucking nightmare, motherfucker. I'm the motherfucking Death Star up in this shit.
Even if firearms weren't part of your life, they were part of your environment. Then I moved to Mexico. Weeks passed, then months, and eventually I saw something that started to bother me a little bit. I almost never saw guns. No rows of gun stores, no advertisements, no billboards, no constant reminders, nothing. At first, I ignored it, but the longer that I lived here, the harder it became to ignore. Where did all the guns go? My first explanation, it seemed obvious. Mexico must have banned them. Simple, question answered, except they didn't, because the first piece of research completely wrecked that theory. Mexico didn't ban guns. Wait, what? If guns weren't banned, why did they feel almost invisible? That question led me somewhere I wasn't expecting. Mexico's constitution still recognizes firearm possession in the home under certain conditions. Now, I had two facts that didn't fit together. Ownership exists, visibility doesn't. So what was I missing? At that point, I came up with a second theory. Maybe hardly anybody actually owned firearms. That would explain everything. But the numbers ruined that theory too. Estimates suggest there are roughly 16.8 million civilian-owned firearms in Mexico. 16 million! I had to stop and reread that number because it created a much bigger question. If millions of guns exist, why don't you see them? The answer wasn't hiding in modern Mexico, it was hiding in history. Back in 1971, Mexico passed the Federal Law of Firearms and Explosives. That law reshaped how legal firearm ownership would work moving forward in Mexico. And once I started looking at that system that emerged from that law, the mystery started making a lot more sense. Growing up in Texas, gun stores felt normal. You see them everywhere. So naturally, I assumed Mexico had them too. Maybe fewer, maybe harder to find, but still there. I was wrong. There are only 2 legal gun stores serving the entire country. 2 for more than 130 million people. I genuinely thought that number had to be wrong, so I checked again and again, because if that's true, how are there millions of civilian-owned firearms? I have to know if that surprised anybody else. Americans, before watching this video, how many legal gun stores would you have guessed Mexico had? And Mexicans, is this something that everybody knows, or did that number actually surprise you too? Let me know in the comments, because this was the moment the entire mystery changed for me. That's where things got weird. The stores weren't missing by accident. The system wasn't designed differently. Legal firearm sales have historically been overseen by the military. The military, not private retailers, not giant sporting good chains, the military. That alone felt completely foreign to me. But the differences didn't stop there. The process itself looks different. Registration, documentation, restrictions on firearm types, additional reviews, requirements that vary depending on the situation. In some cases, proof of employment, proof of residency, background reviews, additional paperwork. The exact requirement depends on the circumstance. But the overall picture is clear. The path to ownership is structured very differently than what many Americans are used to. And that raised another question. If ownership is legal, why does daily life still feel so different? One detail helped me answer that. Carry permits for ordinary civilians are extremely restricted. That may sound like a small thing, but it explains a lot because ownership and visibility are not the same thing. Someone can carry legally without somebody seeing it everywhere in public life. That was one of the biggest clues in the entire investigation. Then I noticed another difference. Back in Texas, reminders are everywhere. Storefronts, signs, displays, advertisements, conversations. Even if you never buy a gun, you're constantly reminded they exist. Mexico handles that a little bit differently. Firearm advertising is heavily restricted, and suddenly another piece of the puzzle snapped into place for me. Take away the advertising. Take away most of the stores. Limit public carry. Centralize legal sales, and visibility starts disappearing. The guns didn't disappear. The visibility did. At that point, I thought I finally had the answer. But I didn't, because there was another layer to this story. Despite strict legal controls and an estimated 200,000 firearms entering Mexico illegally from the United States every year, that number completely changed the investigation because now I was looking at two different realities, a legal system and an illegal system, both influencing the same country, both affecting the same conversation, and both are telling different stories. The deeper that I went, the more obvious it became that I had been combining those stories into one. That's why none of the earlier explanations worked. I wasn't looking at one mystery. I was looking at several overlapping mysteries. Legal ownership, illegal trafficking, history, visibility, culture. Each one of those explained part of the picture. None explained the whole thing. The other number that caught my attention, a large majority of traced crime guns recovered in Mexico originated in the United States. And suddenly something clicked. The question wasn't, does Mexico have guns? Obviously it does. The question wasn't, can people own guns? Obviously they can. The question wasn't even, are the laws stricter? The laws were part of the answer. The real question was, why does daily life feel different? And that's where all the clues finally came together. Growing up in Texas, firearms are visible. You saw them. You heard about them. You were constantly reminded they existed. In Mexico, firearms are far less visible in everyday civilian life. And that single difference changes how the country feels. That's what I've been noticing all along. Not ownership, visibility. That's the reason I spent months feeling like guns had disappeared. They hadn't disappeared. My environment changed. And once I understood that, I realized I had been asking the wrong question from the beginning. The question wasn't, where did all the guns go? The question to ask was, why did I expect to see them? Because growing up somewhere teaches you what normal looks like. After enough years, you stop questioning that. It becomes invisible. Then one day you move somewhere else. And suddenly what felt universal turns out to be local. That's what surprised me most about living abroad. Not discovering what's different, discovering what I assumed was normal. The water tanks, the concrete houses, the pharmacies, the grocery stores, the air conditions. This turned out to be the same story. I noticed something. I thought I understood it. I didn't. And the deeper answer was always more interesting than the first answer. I started this investigation looking for guns, but what I ended up finding was perspective. And if you enjoy these kind of deep dives where I take something that I thought I understood about Mexico, pull it apart and figure out what's the reality going on, make sure you subscribe, because every week I seem to stumble upon another mystery that turns out to be far more complicated than it looks on the surface. Americans, what's something that you thought was universal until you left the United States? And Mexicans, what do you think Americans misunderstand most about everyday life in Mexico? Let me know in the comments, because every time that I think that I've solved one mystery between Mexico and America, I find another one waiting underneath it. And if you're curious about another surprising difference between Mexico and America, click the video on your screen right now. YouTube is showing you the video it thinks that you're most likely going to enjoy next. And if you enjoyed this one, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to enjoy that one too. I'll see you over there.
Life in